Rachel Reeves is literally laughing in Parliament when they discuss the horrific situation that we're all in. But I'll tell you who's not laughing: the bond markets, businesses across the country, and people that are going to end up with less money than they did before. So to sort of calm things down a little bit and to make them a little bit more pleasant, I thought I would talk about this with the Floof on camera. So you can look at the camera, So this is actually the Floof's channel. So I'm doing this in part to boost the watch hours on the Floof's channel, because I don't know if many of you know, but she had severe allergies, so she's now on very expensive medication. So I thought she could have her own channel to tell you all about that. There's a few videos in the playlist. We'll link those below. But to boost those watch hours, let's talk about what's going on here. So before taking office, you'll recall Rachel Reeves promised no major tax increases, no increases on income tax and national insurance, although we've seen the increase on employer national insurance. They promised no massive spending increases and so on. And now each of those promises have been broken, essentially. And remember, she was talking about having a fully funded, fully costed strategy and everything else. Well, her reputation is now somewhat in tatters, because actually she's had to break each of those promises. They will say, she'll deny it. She'll say that they haven't broken those and that they are sticking to their manifesto and doing what they planned. But actually, you can see the response from businesses across the board, across the country. Businesses saying that they're going to have to reduce staff, increase prices and all of these kind of things. And it is going to have a detrimental effect across the country. Now, I read today that she's also considering looking at other farming plans and schemes where she might be able to make cuts and savings as well, after already going after the inheritance once already. Now, she's been urged not to do that while she's looking for areas that she can save yet more money. And the trip to China, well, the amount of money that they were promised in that deal, £1 billion in deals, and let's see how far that goes. But we'll have to see that it manifests first of all and see what actually happens with it. And you can see already that the Floof is enjoying my new little segment, because it means that she gets some time here, not really understanding why she's getting the extra attention. But of course, it's just to make her sit here so you can enjoy watching her. I thought this might be a nice way of double or even triple-edged sword here. She gets some extra fuss, you get to see the Floof, and I get another outlet to vent some frustrations and somewhat have them tamed by Floofy over here. So we look at what else is in the news by way of businesses here. Now, 2/3 of major retailers have warned that they're going to have to raise prices because of this budget. And 52 chief financial officers surveyed across the British Retail Consortium say that they're going to have to raise prices in responses to the increases in employer national insurance from April. Just over half of them said that they'll be reducing the number of hours and overtime that they give staff. 46% that they'll have to reduce their headcount, so lost jobs in stores across the country. And 31% said that the increased costs would lead to further automation. So whilst Keir Starmer is talking about AI being fantastic and everything else, yes, AI might have its uses, but actually it might come into the usage for automation. So a lot of these positions may end up being automated, and therefore many people might actually lose their jobs. I read actually just yesterday or the day before, I think, Facebook, Meta, had already automated by way of AI many of the simple coding tasks, the lower level coding. And it was working in the next year or two to automate a lot of the middle level coders' work. They said it's going to be expensive to get it going, but once they've got it going, it's going to be worth it, because ultimately that's going to save them an awful lot of money by automating, by way of AI, a lot of their middle level coding. Now, 70% of those chief financial officers for these retailers said that they were pessimistic or very pessimistic about the trading conditions over the coming 12 months. Just 13% said that they were optimistic or very optimistic. So some of them maybe have something we don't know about, some ideas that may work. We'll have to see what those turn out to be. Biggest concerns cited by over 60% of these chief financial officers were falling demand for goods and services. Now, there's an interesting argument here because there's talk of inflation having just fallen slightly. But actually, when you think about inflation and demand for goods and services, etc., there may well be some sort of artificial effect on the rate of inflation if the demand for those services has wavered over the Christmas period when people may not have spent as much as they would otherwise for goods and services, and also in line with the increasing tax and regulatory burdens and so on. 44% of those that responded said that they expected reduced profits, and the survey was of 81 retail executives writing to the Chancellor with concerns about economic consequences of this budget, claiming that the industry's costs could rise by over 7 billion with a B in 2025 as a result of changes to the national insurance for employers. Because it is a bit of a fallacy for people to think and argue that employer national insurance is not paid and borne by the end employee. Of course it is. And ultimately, the productivity, the input from that business is all really derived from those employees. And ultimately, every bit of input from that business is going to come from their customers, goods or services alike. All are going to be paid ultimately by that end user and where that money comes from. And certainly for retail, hospitality. Now, you've got used to this fuss now, haven't you? So now, Floof's going to like the extra little sessions where we sit here and she gets that bit of extra fuss. Because as soon as I stop, you're looking for where that fuss has gone, aren't you? So maybe this will make a new segment on this Floof's channel here. So make sure you subscribe while you're here as well, because this might calm you down somewhat whilst we're having to talk about these issues. And all of these horrendous issues, aren't they, Floof? We call her Floof. That's not her real name, obviously. It's just a nickname that we give her here. But that's what's going on. I mean, if you've seen the pictures in Parliament of Angela Rayner and Rachel Reeves laughing heartily in Parliament, it's essentially whilst all these criticisms are going on. Right now you want some extra fuss, don't you? Now you've got used to this fuss, you want the continued fuss. She does get fuss. But let me know if you work in a business, and let me know whether they've indicated to you whether there's likely to be any hours lost, overtime lost, jobs lost, price increases and those kind of things. Because these polls and surveys can only go so far, but certainly from what I've heard, it's looking pretty grim out there, isn't it? That's why we've got Floof on here, to actually make it a little bit more palatable. So let me know, and I think she's off. Make sure you subscribe. Let me know if you like this little segment with Floof here getting some extra fuss and attention, and I'll see you next time.